Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for another raw reaction show, which we basically react, both myself and I get your thoughts on the latest and breaking news in the Arsenal world. And today is, well, stop rubbing your eyes, mate. Stop rubbing your eyes. We have made a signing. An actual signing has occurred at Arsenal Football Club. Unsurprisingly, very eerily, as soon as we have released our new kit. I mean, it's as if by magic, it seems that we release our new kit, and then what happens is that we then sign a new player. It's what it is. What it is. It is what happens, unfortunately, and we've got to deal with the fact that this is an executive world, it's a commercial world, and we've got no choice but to have to deal with the fact that we have to wait till July 2nd, now it is, to make a signing, because that was what our kit deal was. But we have made a new signing. It has been watered down by our obviously North London rivals making a much more significant signing, it's fair to say, and it's rather irritating that they've signed someone so brilliant. But hey, all those people that said we didn't need to be in the Champions League, well, this is the type of things that happen because of that, unfortunately. Now, talk about the guy then, Gabriel Martinelli. That's actually taken over a minute to actually get to talk about the guy himself that signed after everything that's going on. So Gabriel Martinelli, the Brazilian, he is the person who signed for Arsenal for around £5 or £6 million. Okay, and in the description to this video, you can actually check out an article I wrote on Gabriel Martinelli a little bit while ago, when it seemed that he was going to be come in to be add some depth, add some youth. Raul Sanllehi and Van Venkasham said that they wanted to do more of a focus on youth and developing players, because we know that we need to sign these type of players, because we know that in the years to come, we aren't going to have the money to be able to sign these players when they are at Barcelona, at Real Madrid, at Bayern Munich. To players anymore. We used to be able to, but now we can't, and we have to sign them and develop them before we can think about anything else. We need to get some sell-on value. I mean, you just look at how much money Chelsea make from their loan dealings and how much they make from loaning all those players. We need to invest in youth, and that is definitely what is going on in this situation. But there is a difference with this guy, because he is a very good young player. He is a good young player. As I said, check out the link in the description for the article I wrote on him. But he's left forward. He's been misrepresented by a lot of media outlets as a striker. He is a left forward. He's got a really good goal record. He's scored a lot of games for how many shirts will be sold with his name on the back? I don't know. Probably not too many, because not many people know him. Defan, I can't even say your name, mate. But not many shirts are going to be sold with his name on, I don't think. But it's going to basically be a guy that's going to come in, provide youth, provide backup, provide depth for Arsenal Football Club. We need to be investing in these type of players. But as I said, he's misrepresented as a striker when he's in fact a left forward. He's someone that's been taken in that left wing position, will be developing. He will go into most likely the under-23 squad. I don't expect him to be part of the first team initially, but hey, who knows? We saw what happened with Mavropanos. The Greek centre-back came in really, obviously, you can call me Dek. Okay, I'll call you Dek, mate. He came in and obviously impressed the likes of Arsene Wenger, and that got him that place in the Arsenal squad, and he was then drafted through. He's not been sent out on loan, when initially it was thought he would do, and that's the same opportunity that I'm assuming will be given to Gabriel Martinelli in that sense. He'll be given the opportunity to train. If he does, and he trains well, and he shows what he's about and shows what he's capable of, there's no reason why he could not be fitted into this Arsenal team somehow and into the Arsenal squad. I don't expect him to be in a position in which we're playing him every week in, week out. I expect him to see him in the Europa League games against teams which obviously we don't really need that too much quality to beat. I expect to see him in the Carabao Cup. I expect to see him in the early stages of the FA Cup as well. I think that this guy's got a lot of quality, a lot of potential, and I think he'll grow into something that we can really use, and something especially, like Aboud there has just said, he thinks he's going to grow into something special, and I can only agree with that. I think he will grow into something that's going to be extremely quality and good. Forearms Gaming says, why don't we go all in for the defence this window? It is a good question, and hopefully we'll see some defensive signs, and I'm going to come on to a little bit of the other news in a second about what's been going on today in the aftermath, the fallout of obviously the Zaha bid yesterday. But sticking with Martinelli for the moment, he's really in competition if you look for the likes of Saka. Saka is obviously, Bukayo Saka is the guy that's going to be on the left wing in the youth team, and he's going to be in competition with him. In terms of the first team, we don't really have too much in terms of left wingers. Iwobi's really the only person that plays out there. Aubameyang can play, but he's not really best equipped to play in that position. And so it's more likely that he has got actually a fairly decent shot and straight route into that first team and into that first team squad. I don't see any problem with getting him onto that American tour immediately. He should be into the pre-season. He should be showing himself what he's about. And with his goal record that he got at Ituano, I think that he can show everyone what he's capable of and show everyone that he is, in fact, a player that should be considered to be being part of this squad as we go through the season in a little bit later on. So that's sort of the Martinelli stuff. If you want to know more about him, as I said, the article link is in the description. Go check out the article I wrote on the Brazilian. All the stats are there. Alternatively, I did do a tactical breakdown on Martinelli quite some weeks ago, so you can go back down the video list and check that out. If you're enjoying the video, please like and subscribe if you're new around here, of course. Let's get into some of your questions, some of the things that you're asking about, different news and different things that are going on. Now, Vincenzo Tony says, what's happening with Tierney, which is a really, really good question because there's been a little bit more news today and conflicting news reports about Kieran Tierney. The first one comes from David Ornstein. David Ornstein, as we know, is the Oracle, but someone who's... What I find so funny about the David Ornstein thing is actually we're now getting to a stage in our social media lives where there's rumours about the media and the media people that actually they don't maybe know their stuff, that actually they're not linked to the club anymore. So the rumour around David Ornstein was that the guy that he did know and his contact within the club is no longer at the club, and that's why he's now getting news a lot later. He's actually just saying things that other people are reporting. So believe it or not, but he reported today that Napoli are edging ahead of Arsenal in the race to sign Kieran Tierney. Now, for me, if we let Kieran Tierney slip around a £7 million difference, when we were bidding 18 million and they value him at 25 million, but we've just gone out and bid 40 million for Zaha, and we've made some money selling off Ospina, and we've got a lot of money off our wage bill from players that have left. If you're really going to be that difficult about £7 million to sign Kieran Tierney, who would be an absolutely excellent signing. If he was at a Premier League club, you'd be looking at 50 million for this guy, but he's not because he's at Celtic. So don't mug Celtic. Pay the money you need to get Kieran Tierney in, because if you let him go to Napoli, there will be uproar on Twitter across Arsenal fans. There'll be absolute pandemonium if he doesn't sign for Arsenal, with the whole of the links that have been going on. It's very, very well documented that Arsenal are in contact with them. It's very well documented that they have had contact with them. And, I mean, even the managers come out of Celtic and said that our valuation is well off. The other conflicting report is that Sky Sports Austria have said that the Austria Vienna left back is going to be moving, it seems, to Celtic, and that Arsenal should see Tierney arrive for 25 million euros. Now, that could just be a lost in translation article talking about how they expect him to move to Arsenal for 25 million, not that actually he is coming and this Austrian guy is moving over to Scotland to replace him. So I'd take that one with a big pinch of salt, but there is no smoke without fire. If I was to put money on it, I think Tierney will sign for Arsenal still. I'm still very much on the side of leaning towards he will sign, but there are some complications, and it's very frustrating to see Arsenal playing hardball with Celtic, considering that they desperately need some extra defensive help. Let's do. Please do a tactical analysis of Dani Olmo. Yeah, Olmo obviously in the Spain under-21 squad, who won the European Championships. As long-time listeners of the show, I know my affiliation to Spanish teams and Spain international team. So obviously, I'm very happy about that, and obviously know Drew's affiliation to the German team. So I gave him a little few digs when we came out as winners in that tournament. But yeah, Olmo is a really good player and someone that's getting a lot of attention, not for being in Europe, well, in Europe, but not in Spain specifically, and out in Croatia. So it's going to be really interesting to see if he starts moving on. Nico Wilkes-Killian says, do you believe this is a signing that is crucial right now? I know we need centre-backs or even two, and not seeing Arsenal's ambitions to strengthen our defence. I think it's just a necessary signing, as one of those signings you need to do as clubs. See it as a signing which you have to invest in youth. You have to bump up your youth production, your youth development by signing players like this. We aren't in the position, as I said at the start of the video, to sign players when they're established. We need to catch them now. We need to develop them and hope and take that risk that they will turn into the player that we need. Abraham and Bayer says thoughts on Lucas Vazquez and whether we should sign him. I think on Lucas Vazquez, and a few people have asked me on Twitter about Lucas Vazquez, is that he was a utility player, or is still a utility player for Real Madrid. He never really got into that first team, was never really seen as the guy to take that right-wing slot as his own, and he was always given as a backup or someone who could play across the midfield. And he's been given a Spanish call-up several times, but for me, if you're going to spend 30 million, which is what we were quoted on someone like him, then we should have definitely signed someone like Carrasco or Fraser for 30 million, not signing on Lucas Vazquez. Robert Fenton says, do a tactical analysis on Nabil Fekir. He is the next one in line at the moment. So barring any massive news like it was today, it probably would have been today, but obviously this news came out that tomorrow will be a tactical analysis on Nabil Fekir, because we are now linked with him more intensely than it has been. Supposedly we can get him for 30 million euros, pounds, whatever's being quoted, which for me seems massively cut price. But he's not a winger. He's more of a centre attacking mid. He's more of a second striker. He's not the guy he's not someone who's Zaha. He can't play that role. He's someone who's going to play in behind the striker. I'm sure he could do a job out wide, but he's not really in that position. He's not the one who plays there. He plays a second striker or centre forward or attacking midfield. So it is what it is. I don't know why he's gone halved his value. I mean, he agreed a £60 million fee with Liverpool last summer. And obviously due to a failed medical, that didn't happen. So how the fact that he's dropped to 30 million, I need to find out and do some research on that. So that'll definitely be coming to you tomorrow. Let's see what we're thinking. Lord of the Frogs, brilliant name, says, how would Arsenal do with Martinelli on the left and Nelson on the right? I mean, it's a lot of youth and it's a big risk trying to put that much emphasis on of Lacazette and Aubameyang. I'm really starting to see something with Iwobi possibly being pushed into his more, as we're reported to say, a more central role. I mean, tell me your thoughts in the comment box, what you think about seeing Iwobi play as a cam and seeing Xhaka and Torreira be in the midfield two behind them, and then with hopefully signing out on the wing, be it Zaha, be it Ziyech, be it Fraser, whoever, and obviously a Lacazette and Aubameyang as a striker and a wide forward. Let me know what you think about that. I have a feeling that Iwobi could see more game time in the middle of the pitch. It's just a hunch, but maybe we'll see that. Maybe we will. NMNM, I mean, very inspiring name. I'm sure it stands for something. Says, loving your show all the way from South Africa. I hope we can sign Ziyech if Zaha falls through. I think Ziyech is a great player that we should be going for. Apparently he's turned down Sevilla, and for 30 million, I think that'd be a real steal. Marquise Hodges says, love to see Iwobi in the middle, give the guy a chance as his actual position. Yeah, I think that's why we need it. Abraham agrees with him, and he has the energy and the eye for a pass, Nico says as well. Any more questions that are coming in? Some loads are going through. I'm trying to scroll through as many as possible here. Archie says, get ready for war with Kroenke this season. Absolute disgrace of a man. Yeah, he's not getting the biggest. I want to talk about, I think it'd be, what's the right word to use? Ignorant. Let's use that word. If I didn't mention the protest that went on yesterday, I am all for people saying, I don't agree with what Kroenke's doing. I'm all for that. There was a little bit of classlessness about it. I don't mind people holding up their little signs. I don't mind that at all. And I've got plenty of friends who did that. Using a megaphone, maybe not the best idea, especially when you just bought a shirt from the club. That's just my thoughts. But I am very much, I don't want to say defeatist, but there is very much a thing about Stan Kroenke that he doesn't care. He does not care whether you don't like him or not. He's going to run things how he wants to run them. And it's going to take everyone in that ground not to turn up week in, week out before something happens. That is it. That is the bottom line. So whether or not that is the way you want to protest about it, fair enough, and respect you for it. But it's just, I don't think it would do anything. A few more questions then. Isn't Fekir in the last year of his contract, hence his cut price? Carlito, yes, he is, and that's a big reason why he has got a cut price, and he's been told he can leave by Olas, which is a big reason. But still, 60 million to 30 is madness, absolute madness. Fed up with the negative vibes? Yes, Eddie. Let's talk about positivity. That's what I'm trying to get. We've signed a player. It's really, really good news. I think we should take that positively. Nightbot Jeffrey says, do you think we should offer Ozil a new contract, considering he only has 2 years left? Do you think we should offer Ozil a new contract? I think a lot of people would happily see him leave for nothing right now, let alone offer him a new deal. I think the fact that we offered him so much to keep him was a huge error in the club's sort of seeing that amount of money going on that player who, let's face it, whilst he's blessed with brilliant and fantastic ability, just doesn't show it on a consistent basis. And that's it. Pascal says, hello, mate. Good to hear from you. Good to hear from you too, mate. Robert Felton says, Iwobi's end product isn't good enough to play at cam. Well, it isn't good enough to play on the wing. I think playing at cam, there is a bit of a difference. You just look at Serge Gnabry when he was at Arsenal, and I know he's playing in a wide role, but he just didn't get the opportunity at Arsenal. He didn't get the service. He didn't get to see the right chances. Now he's playing in a team which plays to his strengths. you look how much he's flourishing. So it intrigues me playing Iwobi in the right position, playing him in a position which will help him, which I know is different to Gnabry. But in terms of the situation, giving a player what he needs to flourish, you might see a much more different and free and improved Alex Iwobi than we've seen play on that left wing. Plus, he's the only real dribbler that we have until we sign someone else. Lord of the Frogs is excited by Martinelli. It's going to be a great. I just have a gut feeling. Me too, mate. I think that's some great positivity you've got about him. He's better than Bergkamp, Nightbot says. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, fella, but I disagree with you. Here says, where do you see us finishing this season? I see us. The thing is, right, where we finished, I'm probably going to do a video at some point in the near future about where we'll finish. But when you look at the teams around us, City and Liverpool, forget them. They're far and away too high above us. Tottenham is brilliant. I just think he's just different class. He gives them a different element. He's like I don't want to say he's like Kante because he's not, but he just gives you that different element in midfield of defensive might and mobility that you got a little bit with Sissoko, but just nowhere near to that level. And I think with the team that they keep them together, if they can keep hold of Eriksen, I think they're, again, going to be really difficult to get past. They've just annoyingly got that much of quality in them. They are Spurs, so they do Spurs things up. So maybe, fingers crossed, we take advantage of it this time instead of not doing it last time. Then you got Manchester United and Chelsea. Now, the issue with Manchester United and Chelsea is that Manchester United have just got a bottomless pit of money continuously. And then you've got Chelsea who've got a transfer ban. Now, there are issues within both clubs, and you have to take advantage of those two teams. Chelsea and Manchester United have to be taken advantage of if we're going to finish in top four. But the only way we do that is by making these signings, by signing Tierney, by signing a defensive player. I'm not talking about Salah, but I'm talking about someone who's going to play this season. And by signing someone who gives us that little extra dimension and unpredictability in the front three. That's not Martinelli. He's definitely one for the future. But it has to be someone like Zaha, like Ziyech, like Fekir. One of these players has to be brought in to give us that different element going forwards. There's no bones about it. That's what has to happen. We miss Bellerin, we miss Holding, and it's great we're going to get those back eventually. Not right at the start, but we have to. We really, really do. A couple more and then we'll sign off. I saw a really good question. Polita says, why are we going for Zaha? Arsenal's forward scores goals even with the team we have. We can't stop conceding. Why do we keep looking for attackers? Defenders should be our priority. I agree with you completely. Defenders have to be the priority. But again, like I just said, I think we need that little extra element of unpredictability and spice to that attacking line to give us something that means that when we don't have that much possession, or when we do have too much possession, we've still got someone who's going to take the ball to the opposition. Aubameyang is the closest person you've got to that, and he doesn't do it on enough. He doesn't take the ball to the opponents. He's very passive. He waits for the ball and makes those runs. He doesn't take the ball to the opposition. And we just need a dribbler. We desperately need someone who's going to be good on the ball. And finally, let's see that someone, who do you think will be our next signing from Dennis Brown? I think our next signing will be Kieran Tierney. I think it still will happen. That's my initial instinct. If it doesn't, I'll hold my hands up. But I think he will be our next signing. Fingers crossed, like proper serious signing. But we'll have to wait and see. I really hope you've enjoyed the video, people. If you have, and you enjoy the fact we've signed someone today, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you're new. Thank you to 240 people who've watched. It'd be amazing if all of you like this video. I really would appreciate the help in getting this video up the charts. Again, if you want to check out and get some more information on Gabriel Martinelli, please click the article in the description. Spent a lot of time doing a lot of research on him, and there's lots of information there for you to go check out on Martinelli. Plus, there's a video, a tactical breakdown video on the channel about Martinelli, so you can go and check that one out as well. So there's plenty of information. This was purely my reaction to the signing, and I think it's a really, really good one, and you can see why in the article and the video. So thank you ever so much for tuning in. I hope I've answered as many of your questions as I possibly could, and I'll see you again tomorrow for the next one. And as always, up the Arsenal.